You said something earlier too, and I want to come back to this because this is probably something that many of us struggle with, especially those that have been on our journey for a long time, is this idea of how much to share. Who do I get to be fully, authentically honest with what's going on? Do I use the word God? Like all of these things, sometimes these questions we have, and you said that you had some shame around it, or you had some questions or doubts around it, and even relationships are impacted. So, how have you addressed all of those feelings that you sometimes have when you started your journey and maybe to where you are now?
Yeah, that's such a good question. When Conversations with God Book 4 came out in 2016, I knew that I wanted to do it. I knew that it was for me. I was like, this
Hmm.
is like my soul's purpose for being on the planet. To help awaken people. I was like, oh, this sounds awesome.
Sign me up.
It triggered immediately all of the shame that I picked up when I first discovered the material when I was living in small town Texas. And I was surrounded by people who didn't agree with it. I was like, guys, manifestations are real and there's like synchronicities happening. And I was basically told you're trafficking with the devil, you have schizophrenia, like
Yeah.
all different types of stuff. Like you're crazy. And at that time, this was like 2008.
It was early on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were
So
young. And you were young too.
yeah, my belief system, I didn't have a like, defense mechanism around it.
Hmm.
Like these beliefs were still very malleable. So the spiritual beliefs got mixed with like shameful beliefs. And I didn't
Yeah.
understand how to decompress some and keep the others, keep beneficial beliefs and get rid of the other ones. And
Hmm.
so this process of this journey to authenticity for me has been quite a long one. The Conversations with God came out in 2016, and I really went hard at trying to do what's in this book. I was making YouTube videos, I was posting content, and then people started like asking. This is in college. People are like, "Hey, can I just come over to your house and hang out and talk to you about the stuff that's in this book?" And my nervous system like couldn't handle it. I was
Yeah.
like, I started to get really afraid when I started getting attention towards me. I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, this is actually too much."
Yeah.
And in order to deal with that fear of being seen, I decided to run away from my authenticity. I
Mhm.
decided that I'm not going to talk about this material anymore. I'm going to hide this. At the time, I was like, I'm going to become an improv teacher and just never talk about this again. And I'm going to work with companies and I'm just like going to run. The consequence of running was that I disconnected. I became even more shameful of my authentic self. And I had to numb myself because I created a hole that could only be filled with substances. And
Right.
so I developed binge eating disorder and I gained 40 pounds in 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. I was just consuming like anything that I could from
And to
cannabis to
fill the hole.
porn, food, sex, alcohol. Like I literally just, I like snapped into this really addictive pattern. And I didn't know it at the time, but what I understand now is that what I didn't know at that time was like how to get rid of shame, like how to release the limiting belief systems and keep the really beautiful ones. And so the journey, I think the original question was like, what was the journey to
Yeah. How did you
here?
get release the shame and to get to where you are today?
So it's been like a 7 year journey, like almost like a 10-year process for me. Because right when I got the books, when I was like 14 years old, I wanted to tell everyone. And then I was like, that's not okay. That's not safe. And
Yeah.
then again, when I was a senior in college, I wanted to go, I tried again and I was like, ran again. So it's been this roller coaster. And I call this the authenticity roller coaster. And it's basically, I'll give it for my perspective. I kept being guided through excitement because I knew that excitement was my soul talking to me. I would be guided to full embodiment. I would be guided to like the fullest expression of who I am and who I want to be.